Hello, I am Mal, and welcome to Wasteland 2 Director's Cut, How to Build a Team. So, for those of you that are already familiar with Wasteland 2, since it has been out on the PC for a while, what I would tell you folks is that fundamentally the game has changed. As you will see in this video, because I'm gonna talk in detail about what I think will make the best balanced squad over the course of the entire game. As well as the new quirks and perks system, which you really don't even get visibility into until you're actually in the game. It does fundamentally change how you would build a group from previous Wasteland 2 versions, and I think that that's great. It's injected a lot of new life and replayability into Wasteland 2 in the Director's Cut version. Okay, now that being said, if you are an Xbox One or PS4 player, if you're on the console, this will all be applicable to you as well. So if you're not familiar with Wasteland 2 previously, that's okay, settle in, I'm going to explain how all this works. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, first we're going to talk about the core team. Now, for those of you not familiar with the way it works, you have 4 core rangers, and they are loyal to you. They're always going to follow your commands. You don't really have to worry about their motivations. They are basically you. Okay, so those 4 people we'll talk about in quite a bit of detail. So what we're going to discuss is first what I want to call affectionately the leader monkey. And then after the leader monkey, we'll talk about the mid-ranged combatant, the AP monkey. Then we're going to discuss the sniper monkey. And then we're going to finish up with the skill monkey for the core team. So that'll cover how to create them and how to balance out their skills. And then I'm also going to speak a little bit to NPC characters, but I'm not going to speak about any specific NPC. I'll just speak to what is available. And because that's largely because all these new people coming into the Wasteland 2 community, I don't want to ruin their experience with any spoilers. So again, I won't be talking about the NPCs, which you can have 3 of in your group. So you get 4 core members plus 3 NPCs for a total of 7. Yeah, super math, Mal. Anyway, I won't be talking about those because I don't want to spoil things. All right, so with that said, let's jump in and we're going to do custom squad creation. Yep. Okay, and so right up here, we're going to start with what I like to call as the leader monkey. Some people refer to this as the face of the group. And what that means is that in terms of their role, they're going to be responsible for providing buffs to the group. They're going to handle social interactions, so dialogue with other characters in the game. And then my leader monkey has a specific role for cover destruction. But I'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to say create a custom ranger. One of the many changes that they've made in the new Director's Cut version with the upgrade to Unity 5, the characters have a lot more detail, which is awfully nice. And they've changed up the interface just a bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. Okay, so let's see. So you can pick male or female. Obviously, you can set your age. You can pick a religion if you want. Smokes, if they have a particular brand preference. This is just for flavor primarily. It doesn't have any real game impact. Ethnicity. You can pick that as well. That also has no real game impact, but just for flavor. And then you can type yourself a little biography. So in this case, this is the leader monkey. And the leader monkey's role is buffs, social, and cover destruction. Yep. Okay, so we're going to label him leader monkey. Okay, so let's see. And I'm only going to do this detail on this first character, and then we don't need to see that again and again, right? Let me change the portrait real quick. Actually, I'm fine with that portrait. Yeah, that's fine. Confirm that. Customize the appearance a little bit. There we go. That kind of matches. Let's see. Torso. That looks good. Legs. You can change the size. I think I'll just go with the default kind of middle height. And confirm. Now, if you want to, once you've kind of created your your avatar for a particular character, you can say change portrait, and you can actually take a snapshot of this, and it'll end up right over here as your custom. You can also add in custom portraits, like I've seen people use pictures from the old 80s show, the A-Team, or I've seen people use photos from like soldiers they loved from like XCOM when they're XCOM campaigns, or all kinds of things, Muppets, whatever. you can put custom portraits in. When you take a snapshot like this, that wasn't that great of a photo. Well, whatever. Anyway, my point is they then get added in to your actual photo gallery below. As you can see here, I've got a bunch of other custom photos from taking snapshots of the characters, which I think is a pretty cool feature. Yeah, pretty neat. All right, but we're going to go with this default. We're going to say confirm. All right, so now we come into the actual character creation screen. Now, it can be a little bit overwhelming when you start, but that's okay. I'm going to talk you through it. That's what I'm here for. I'm going to briefly go through what's called the classic system. And the reason it's called that is because you have coordination, luck, awareness, strength, speed, intelligence, and charisma. So that spells out, you guessed it, classic, thus the name of the system. If you're thinking to yourself right now, well, hey, that kind of sounds like the system from Fallout a little bit. Well, there's a reason for that. Fallout, that series of games, actually came from the original Wasteland game. So you're going to find a lot of similarities, not just in the setting, but also in some of the skills and other things. The primary difference between Wasteland and Wasteland 2 and, say, the Fallout games is the perspective, right? This is an isometric game that you kind of see from top down, and it's a group-based game, whereas Fallout is a primary, first-person character and then some followers, so it works a little differently in that game. But very, very similarly themed. They're both post-apocalyptic games, so you will find a kind of a common thread between them. If you like Fallout, chances are you're going to love Wasteland 2. Okay, so let's see. Continuing on with the leader. Now, in terms of stat distribution, and let me bring up my kind of guide that I built myself, and I had some buddies of mine work on this with me. As you can see here, here are the 4 different roles: leader monkey, AP monkey, sniper monkey, skill monkey. In terms of the leader monkey, that is the specific role is to provide buffs to the group via leadership skill, to provide social interaction. I talked about that earlier, about sort of being the face of the group. And then in my case, I decided to use a combination of quirks, which we'll get into, perks, and skills to create someone that can handle cover destruction for me. So instead of having to use explosives, I'm going to experiment with my leader being armed with a shotgun and having the appropriate perks to allow him to destroy any cover. Now, obviously, that's advantageous because, hey, you need to be able to destroy cover. It makes your shots easier to hit. Now, the other role that he's going to play in combat is sort of as a finisher. And I will get into that in more detail, but he's going to use his AoE damage to finish off targets that the rest of the party is sort of already whittled down. Okay, so let's do the stats. In this case, we're going to go with a 4 coordination. We're going to go with a 1 luck. And what I will tell you is, generally speaking, for most characters, both luck and charisma are considered dump stats. Luck adds to crit. It also gives you a chance to get extra AP or action points. As you can see down here in the derived stats, action points are basically what you can do in battle every turn. It's pretty important, but it's not the end-all be-all either. So there's a random chance to pick up some extra action points. It does happen occasionally. But honestly, luck is just not, and never has been, all that great of a stat, in my opinion. So a lot of people use it as a dump stat. Likewise, charisma. If you hover over this, it'll tell you what you gain or what you lose when you go down. So if we go down to, say, a level 2 charisma, we lose 5% XP reward. If we go down to 1, we lose another. Okay, so basically, it's going to take a little bit longer to level up your character with a 1 charisma, but that's over the course of the game. It's not that big a deal. And those 2 points, especially for a combat-oriented character, is not going to be an issue. Now, having said that, this is the leader, right? This is the quote-unquote leader monkey, so charisma is actually quite important to this particular character. I'll explain exactly why in a moment. Okay, let's see. So you got luck. Next is awareness. This contributes significantly to the derived stat combat initiative, which in most games, initiative is, oh, who was higher? Okay, you go first, then I go. That's half correct in Wasteland 2. In Wasteland 2, combat initiative is, okay, who's higher? Okay, you go first. And then if you're fast enough, you might go again before someone else and again before someone else. So having a high combat initiative is not only your initial, it's not only the initial conflict, it's also throughout the fight how many times you're going to get to go. And where you will appear in sort of the combat pool, right? So this is not something that you want to ignore. And what I would tell you as a general rule of thumb, you want a minimum of a 12 combat initiative on every character, regardless of the role that they're playing in the group. That's from my experience. Okay, now, it contributes to combat initiative, your chance to evade, which is nice. Okay, so we go down here, chance to evade. This gets added to your cover. So you go behind full cover. That's going to give you some, defense. In other words, it's going to subtract from their chance to hit you, and then your chance to evade gets added on top of that. And then there's also other things that you can add in to make yourself even harder to hit. Okay, next we have strength, which is a combination of how much health that you get when you start, how much that you can get per level. It also affects your carry weight, which should not be ignored. I know in a lot of games, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter how much you can carry. It's no big deal. It is kind of a big deal in Wasteland 2, not only because you don't want to pass up on things that you recover in terms of loot, but also because certain weapons actually weigh a lot. Like as an example, if you want to have a heavy weapons user, someone that uses like miniguns, think Arnold Schwarzenegger in the original Predator movie where he's carrying around that M134. Well, actually, I guess it was Blaine that was carrying it around, but you get my point. If you want to carry around a minigun like that, that thing weighs a lot. And I think the quote unquote lightest weapon is like 16 or 17 pounds. And then you got ammo to go with it. So it can add up really, really quickly if you're carrying around a heavy weapon. Now, if you're a melee combatant, it adds to your melee critical hit damage, as well as your base melee damage. So if you decide to make a hand-to-hand combatant, strength is super important. But what I would tell you is that it's actually important for every character, particularly on higher difficulty levels. And I suggest you go with a 4 or higher on everyone. There's also some implications in terms of what kind of armor that you can wear without a movement penalty. And 4 is the cutoff for the majority of that, if not all of it. So strength of 4 is a good idea, regardless of what character you're building. Okay, so that's my suggestion. We're going to go ahead and stick with a 3 awareness. That's fine on the leader. Speed is something that gets overlooked a lot. This adds to how fast you can move in combat, so how much area you can cover. That's important when you want to get to cover or you want to get a flanking shot on an enemy. Combat speed is pretty darn important. It also adds, as you can see here, plus 1% to evade, plus 1 to combat initiative. So we want that, and actually in this case, we're going to take that up to a 6. Now, in terms of, and you can see here our action points is now at 8. Every 4 points in intelligence, speed, strength, awareness, or coordination will result in an action point increase, just as a side note. Every 10 levels, you get to add another attribute point. So something that's a pretty popular thing to do is that you, for instance, I have this stat awareness at 3, and at level 10, I could pop another point in here, and that would give me another combat initiative and some other bonuses, including vision range, which is pretty important for a sniper. Not so much for a leader, but pretty important for a sniper. But you kind of want to plan out where you're going to put these extra attribute points as well. Again, you get those every 10 levels. Okay, so we've got speed taken care of. Let's go to intelligence. Now, in intelligence, there's breakpoints, okay? And the breakpoints are as follow. 1 intelligence gives you 2 skill points. 2 intelligence gives you 2 skill points. 3 intelligence, 2 skill points. You're kind of getting the idea here, right? At 4, it goes up to 3 per level. And then you've got to go to 8 before you get another one, and 10 if you want to get to 5 skill points per level. What I would tell you is that the vast majority of your characters can get by just fine on a 4, and what that will allow them to do is have 3 to 4 skills at very high level. And when I say very high level, I mean between 8 and 10. And 8 or 9 is usually the magic number for a key skill. And then you just use what's called a trinket, which is a small item that gives you a bonus to push you to a 10 if you need it. Like as an example, let's say you have a person with a mechanical repair of 9, and you don't want to spend the points for 10. That's fine. You don't have to. You just get a trinket called a ship in a bottle. It gives you a +1. Boom. Now you're at 10. So again, I'll go over more of that in more detail later, but I just wanted to make it clear here, the breakpoints for intelligence. 4 is generally what I go with and what I recommend, except for the skill monkey, which we'll cover here in a minute. And that person obviously is going to have a much higher intelligence. Okay. And then last but not least, on the leader, I think I already covered this. It gives you increased XP rewards, but the other thing that leadership does, charisma does, as you can see here, maybe it's hard to see, but it says +2 meters for leadership radius. So the leadership skill, which of course you want on this character, is going to provide all kinds of bonuses to hit, and then depending on how you choose your perks, also make your people harder to hit. It's a really good value skill that you're going to want to invest in. But how far it spreads out is based on your charisma. So we're going to go ahead and take a 6 charisma, and then I probably will, just for the leadership radius at level 10, drop my first point in here, and then at level 20, drop a point in awareness. That's probably what I'll do with my first 2 attribute points. All right, let's shift over to skills. All right, let's see. We know that we want to have shotguns, hard ass, smart ass, and leadership. So let's go with leadership first. Okay, so reduces followers. Here's the key things. First off, it increases allies' chance to hit by 2%. That's at the first level. But this other thing where it says reduces chance of followers to ignore orders in combat by 5%. Every NPC, and remember, you can have up to 3 in your group, 3 follower NPCs. They have what's called a rogue chance, okay? And the rogue chance it works like this. In combat, they can sort of just flip out on you and they'll do their own thing. They're not listening to your commands and they're just going to do their own thing. Now, if they are a ranged combatant, like somebody with a sniper rifle or a mid-range weapon like an assault rifle, it's not that big a deal. But if you have a follower that's like a melee combatant and they break and go rogue, they can just run right into the enemy and get slaughtered, and it can be ugly, okay? So you really don't want them going rogue. So the other big benefit of leadership is for every level, it reduces the chance to go rogue by 5%. Rogue chance on NPCs ranges from a low, if memory serves me correctly, of about 30% up to a high of 70%. There are characters that are that difficult to control. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take some leadership skill. Okay, there we go. Take 2 points in leadership to start off. Now, when I hover over the next one, you'll see that there's a diamond, and underneath it says it unlocks Taunt. Taunt is part of the new perk system, which I will show you in depth. And what this does is it gives you an additional ability. In the case of Taunt, it makes your guys harder to hit. It's a little bit weird because it's not part of the actual character creation menu, which I don't really get why they did that. You actually have to go in game before you'll be able to see the perks, but we will be looking at those. Okay, but at level 3, it would unlock that. Every 4 levels, you get to choose a perk. So you have to qualify for the perk and meet whatever its requirements are. And then you have to have a perk choice available, which again comes up every 4 levels. In the case of the leader, I am going to, let me bring this back up here for you. Okay, let's see. Okay, so for the leader, I'm actually going to take, Radiant personality, right, is one of the biggest things that I am going to pick up. Okay, that's one of the most important things perk-wise. And I'm just doing this to give you an example of how powerful these things can be. So if you look under smartass, which is another skill we have to pick up, so let's go ahead and grab 1 point of smartass. As you can see right here, when we get to level 5, it unlocks Radiant Personality perk, which I definitely will be taking. When you want to recruit new NPCs, a lot of the better NPCs in the game are going to have a minimum charisma value of your group for recruitment. Okay, as an example, there's one NPC that I want to recruit for my campaign, and I know that the NPC requires a 22 charisma for the group that you approach them with to recruit them. That's quite a bit. If you have Radiant Personality, however, it doubles the effective charisma of your leader. So if your leader has, say, a 6 or 7, it gets doubled by Radiant Personality, and then you have a couple of other people in your group, even if they're followers, that's okay, even if they're NPCs, that have a little bit of charisma, all of a sudden it becomes significantly easier to recruit those better NPCs. So you want to really, really study the perk system. And what I would tell you is that you don't have to follow me and what I'm saying, verbatim, of course, but I would challenge you to just take a pre-made group and go into the game and look at all the perks that are available and then make your decisions about what you're going to do, because it can radically change how you build the character. Okay, so let's see. What else do we need here? We've got smart ass. Oh, we need hard ass as well. Okay, so we'll grab 1 point in that. And then we have leadership. Okay, we're good there. And then we need shotguns. So we're going to go ahead and take a 2 in that. Okay, and that's all of our initial skill points. 2 in leadership, 1 in smartass, 1 in hardass, and 2 in shotguns. Yep, that's what we need. Now, secondary skills, which I'll be picking up on pretty much every character, include Surgeon. I'll be getting 1 point of Surgeon. Surgeon allows you to use trauma kits, which if somebody goes down in combat, the only way to stabilize them is with a trauma kit. So I would suggest that, especially if you're playing on higher difficulty levels, that everyone in their group invest 2 skill points and pick up 1 level of Surgeon, and then carry a basic trauma kit on them. That can really save you. The other skill that I'm going to put on a lot of my characters is Weaponsmith. Now, low levels of Weaponsmith really don't do much for you. Actually, they do next to nothing for you. However, at level 2, as you can see there, it says unlocks Tinkerer. Now, I'm probably going to put Tinkerer on pretty much every character that I have. This is a super value perk. So you spend 6 points, skill points, to get a level 2 weaponsmithing, and you spend 1 perk choice on Tinkerer, and that is going to give you a +1 action point if you're wearing light armor, which the vast majority of my team will be. So for 6 skill points and a perk choice, I can get an additional action point. That's a super bargain. So you might want to, I know it seems wasteful to duplicate skills on different characters, but based on perks that are available, sometimes you're going to want to do that. Okay, so I don't see anything else here. I think that completes the leader, and we're going to go a lot faster on these other ones, so just sit tight here. Okay, the quirk system. These are, and I went through these in detail already in another video called What's New in Wasteland 2, so if you want a detailed breakdown of all the quirks, go there, and I make all my recommendations and whatnot. For this character, I'm going to use this quirk, Opportunist, plus 25% damage against any target at less than 30% con. Now, if you remember earlier, I said in combat, this particular character's role is going to be either cover destruction or finishing off targets, right? So if you've whittled everyone down and then you have a shotgun person that can do area effect damage, maybe they can take out several weakened foes at the same time. Thus the reason why having targets with less than 30 con, it makes sense to take this. So I'm going to be taking Opportunist. I also have some other perk choices, like for instance, Bloodthirsty, which with a kill gives you an additional action point. So what I'm hoping, and I haven't been able to test this completely, but what I'm hoping is that We walk up to a group of guys that are already wounded, kill 2 or 3 of them in one go with the shotgun blast, and then we gain back 2 or 3 action points because we have the perk Bloodthirsty. So you can really get some synergies going here. You just have to really study everything and figure it out. Okay, so let's do that. There's the leader monkey. Now we're going to move on to, let's see, what are we doing now? The AP monkey, right. So create a custom character. So this is the action point monkey. And as you know, it's probably pretty obvious, this person's going to be focused on tons of action points in combat, which is going to allow this person to, in this case, be armed with an assault rifle and fire multiple bursts. That's something else I want to talk to you about. Weapons. As you will see as we go through here, I'm using shotguns, assault rifles, sniper rifles, energy weapons, and then for my NPCs, I'm planning to use SMG, submachine guns, bladed weapons, and then another energy weapon user. So I only double up on weapon type once. And the reason I'm doing that is because different weapons work better against certain targets, but the other reason I'm doing it is because resources are quite scarce in Wasteland 2, particularly now in Director's Cut. So having characters with different weapon types allows you to make sure that they're all going to have ammo without, going broke trying to keep them equipped. Okay, so just, that's why I'm doing it. Obviously you're going to do what you want to do, but my recommendation is that you spread it out. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and drop the charisma and drop the luck. We're going to take an 8 coordination. We're going to go down and we're going to take a 6 awareness. So our combat initiative is already at 12. Strength, we're going to go with 4. Remember, we set that as kind of the baseline. This is what we need to do. We're going to take a 4 speed. We're going to take a 4 intelligence. So now we're at 10 action points. And we have a 13 combat initiative, which, while not great, is pretty good. And when you factor in why we're doing this, okay, let me bring this up here. This weapon chart here. Now, this might be a little bit dated, but I think for the most part, this is going to hold true. When you look at, for instance, an assault rifle, because that's what this person's going to be equipped with, depending on which assault rifle you pick, 5 AP or 6 AP, what have you, for, say, a burst, this person's actually going to be able to, you'll see in a moment, this person's actually going to be able to move and then still take a burst shot, or actually probably be able to move and take 2 burst shots, which is kind of crazy. I mean, this is like, super combat monkey character here. Okay, now, well, wait a minute, Mal, you've only got 10 action points. You can't take 2 burst shots if they're 6 AP apiece. You're right, I can't, but I'm going to take a starting quirk called Brittle Bones, which is going to reduce my combat speed by quite a bit. So I'm not going to be able to move all that well, but I'm going to get +2 action points. And then remember I said that you might want to take a 2 weaponsmith so that you can get that perk called Tinker, which gives you a +1. So this character very early on is going to be sitting on 13 action points. That allows you to move a little bit and take 2 burst shots with an assault rifle. That's pretty hot, folks. That's pretty hot. Okay, so let's do the skills. We know we need some assault rifle. And then this particular character is going to carry my lockpicking skill. Yep. And this person's also going to carry my safe cracking. And then we're also going to do some mechanical repair. Okay, now, why these particular skills on this character? Good question. The reason is because you get some more really, really good synergies with the perks. So first things first, if you get a lockpicking skill and a safe cracking skill to 10, you can get a perk called Master Thief, which means you're never going to get a critical failure on a safe cracking attempt or a lockpicking attempt, which means basically you're never going to fail because you could just keep trying until you're successful. So why the mechanical repair? Well, 2 skills at 10 is going to take you quite a while to get to. In the meantime, you still want to be able to kind of hedge your bets. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a mechanical repair of 3, which unlocks a perk called Handyman, which means you won't be able to get a critical failure on a mechanical repair check. Now, why is that important? Well, because when you're doing a lock-picking attempt, if you break a lock or a safe and you break the lock, you can actually do a mechanical repair to fix that and then take another attempt at lock-picking or safe cracking. So we're going to take Handyman, and then we're going to kind of rely on that as we're building up our safe cracking and lock-picking. And then once we get to 10 in both of these, we'll take Master Thief, and then we never have to worry about failing again. Hopefully that made sense to you, but these are the kinds of things that if you really, really study the perk system, I think it's going to give you some good options, but you have to study it up. You don't want to just go blindly into the game. You're not going to be nearly as effective as you could be. Okay, so let's see here. I think that's it. Yeah, we've got the assault rifles, we've got mechanical repair, safe cracking, and lockpicking. For characters with a 4 intelligence, you generally don't want to have more than, say, 3 main skills, because you're not going to have enough points to finish them off or get them close to the top and then use a trinket. So just make sure you map that out correctly. Like, for instance, unless you had somebody with a ton of skill points, you don't want them to have 4, 5, 6 skills, because they're never going to be good enough at it to help you out, especially in the later parts of the game. You want to concentrate your skills on things that are going to work for you. That comes into, with secondary skills in terms of combat. A lot of people will take a primary weapon and a secondary, and there are times that you want to do that. Like a sniper having a secondary skill is, say, pistols or handguns or whatever. Yes, you can certainly do that, and it's valid. What I would tell you, though, is that you're really better served by investing all of your points in a handful of skills and be really, really good at them. Okay, moving on. For the quirk for our AP monkey, we are going to take Brittle Bones. It's going to mess up our combat speed, but again, it's going to give us those +2 action points, which is the whole concept behind this particular character. Okay, so we've got Leader Monkey, we've got Action Point Monkey. We're going to create another custom ranger. Okay, this is going to be the Sniper Monkey. Okay, and let's go. Okay, skills for the Sniper Monkey. 6 coordination. You're going to take a 1 luck, or I am. Awareness, I'm going to go with a 6. Strength, 3 is fine. Drop that charisma. Let's get that speed up to 8. I'm taking a 3 intelligence and then a 1 charisma. And then the plan here is that at level 10, I will likely throw another point into intelligence, which will give me another skill point. So at level 10, I'll drop this in, and then instead of getting 2 skill points per turn, I'll be getting 3 from level 11 forward, which is pretty significant. That's another 30 to 35 skill points. So that's basically darn near a full skill. A full skill at 10 is 44 skill points. So this should work out just fine. Okay, now we have 9 action points. We've got a 15 combat initiative and a 2.6 combat speed. I haven't talked about combat speed all that much, but generally speaking, you're going to want a 2.2 or higher. That's just sort of my experience. That'll give you the best options to get to cover and to flank enemy targets. Okay, so what else are we going to take with our sniper rifle? Oh, well, obviously we're going to take the actual skill, snipers. Here we go. So we'll start with a 2 in that. And then we want to pick up perception. Yep, so we're going to take this. This perception skill is basically the ability to see secrets and hidden things and what have you. It is very, very important skill. You have to have it. There are certain parts in the game, particularly in Arizona, the starting part of the game, where you simply will not be able to very easily get past certain things if you can't see, like, for instance, like a minefield. If you can't, with perception, identify it, and then disarm it with demolitions, you're going to be in deep trouble. Okay? So speaking of demolitions, I'm also giving this to the sniper. Yep. And that might seem like an odd choice, but I like having perception and demolitions on the same character. It just makes it easier. The other reason is because there are some perks later on that you can get that are based on having a perception and having demolition skill. So, like, as an example, I want tactical positioning. That's based on perception. I want I want Deadeye. And there's some other things I want, Long Arm and Bomberman, which are actually going to allow me to throw grenade type weapons much, much further. So I can have a sniper conceivably throwing grenades from the back lines, because I'm going to take certain perks that are tied to demolitions that are going to give me increased range and increased damage, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, the other thing we're picking up here is Weaponsmith. Yep, and actually this guy's actually going to be the Weaponsmith, so we will take Tinkerer as a perk for sure for the +1 AP, which will give him a 10 AP, by the way. But we're actually going to go pretty much all the way up with Weaponsmith on this character. Weaponsmithing is incredibly important. Not only does it allow you to strip weapons down for parts and sell them, which is much better, typically speaking, than just selling the weapon that you find, but you also have a chance to get certain mods, scopes, better mags, all kinds of different things to make your weapons much more effective. And weaponsmithing will not only allow you to recover those mods, but you need a high weapon skill to apply and or remove mods. So don't think this isn't a skill you want. You really want a high level weapon skill on one character at least, right? Okay, so I think that's it. This looks good. Moving on. We're actually not going to take any quirk on the Sniper Monkey. Okay, so that leaves us with the last custom ranger, which is affectionately called the Skill Monkey. Okay, so what? Skill Monkey? What do you mean? Oh, come on. You're smart people. Skill Monkey. This is the person who's going to carry a bunch of different skills for us at high levels. That doesn't mean that the character won't be able to fight. They will, and we're actually going to take some pretty neat perks that will sort of make sure that they're still going to be able to make a contribution in combat. Okay, so let's see. Coordination of 4. We'll take a charisma of 1. Okay, luck is going to be a 1. Again, remember, luck and charisma are largely dump stats for most characters. We're going to take an awareness of 5. We're going to take a strength of 4. We're going to take a speed of 4. And we're going to take an intelligence of 9. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, first off, we're getting 4 skill points per level from the start. Yeah. And then once we get to level 10, we will take a 10 intelligence, and then we'll be getting 5 skill points per level. But we're also going to take a starting quirk that's actually going to give us a -1 skill point. It's called delayed gratification. We're actually going to have a -1 skill point levels 1 through 10. Post that, 11 up, we're going to get a +1 skill point. So actually, from level 11 onward, we're going to have a 10 intelligence, which would take it to 5, and then we're going to get a +1 from delayed gratification. So we're going to have 6 skill points per level. That's just crazy. And generally speaking, getting to, like, say, level, getting into the 40s is not unheard of. You certainly can do that. So delayed gratification on a character like this, I think is a good starting quirk, choice. Okay, so what skills is the Skill Monkey going to carry for us? Well, first off, the Skill Monkey is actually going to be an energy weapon combatant. I'm not going to say specifically what, because I don't want to spoil it for people, but one of the very best weapons in the game is an energy-based weapon. So you want at least one person in your party that's set up to use energy weapons and sort of optimized to use it well. Okay, so energy weapons is going to be her weapon choice. And then under knowledge skills, we're going to take alarm disarm. And we're going to take computer science. And we're going to take mechanical repair. Now, why these particular skills? That's a good question. And that's because there are perks associated with them. I'll give you an example. Cyber Scrounger. If you have both alarm disarm, and actually here it is right here, Cyber Scrounger. If you have both alarm disarm at level 2, computer science at level 2, and then you pick this particular perk, anytime you do an alarm disarm check or a computer science check, and they come up more often than you might think, you actually have a chance to recover energy cells for free, which is the ammo that you use for your energy weapons. Pretty cool, right? Okay, let's see. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and start with an alarm disarm of 2. We might as well. Yep. Okay, so let's keep going. And then for quirk, we're going to take delayed gratification. Again, you get +1 skill point for each level after level 10, -1 skill point up to level 11. So a little slower start, but then a much better after level 11. And the reality is, on a character with an intelligence this high, you're not going to feel it that much anyway, and the long-term benefit is definitely there. Okay, so we're going to take delayed gratification. Bink! Okay, so there you have it. The leader monkey, the action point monkey, the sniper monkey, and the skill monkey. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick cut in the video. I'm going to get into the game, past the initial dialogue and stuff, and then we'll take a little bit of a look at the perks. I'll explain that to you a little bit, and then we'll wrap things up. So I'll see you in just a sec. Okay, folks, so now that we're in game, let's take a look at the perk system. So you just hit C to bring up your character. Then you can see here we have inventory, character, skills, perks. So we click on perks. Again, you get one every 4 levels. And you can just go through and sort of highlight over these to see what they can do. And I'm gonna kind of go in detail as to what I'm doing with this particular character, the leader monkey, just to give you an idea. And then the others, you know, you can sort of figure out from earlier in the video when I put up that screenshot of my spreadsheet. You can look at that and pause the video if you want to copy exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so let's see. A couple things that are good for all characters. Turtle, plus 10% evasion bonus from cover. I'll be taking that for sure. There's another one that would be a good choice later on. Healthy, +1 con per level, and it's retroactive. So that would be something, you know, if you have an extra perk choice later on down the road, you could pick something up like this. That's really pretty strong in my opinion. Okay, now, specifically to the shotgun, if we go over here and take a closer look. Shotgun, where are you? There it is. Okay, active skills. Okay, so careful hunter, precise hunter. I don't care about those. Those perks basically lower the chance of a friendly fire shotgun shot hitting your team. You know what? Just control your character correctly, and you don't need to waste perk choices on that. However, I do want Obliterator. Okay, so let's go take a look. What does Obliterator do? There it is. Destroy cover with shotguns, always completely destroys it. Requires a 6 shotgun. So I know that I'm gonna go past 6 shotguns anyway, but I know that Obliterator is definitely gonna be one of the ones that I'm going to choose, okay? Another one that I know I'm going to choose, I spoke about this earlier in the video, is Radiant Personality. ×2 charisma effectiveness when recruiting followers. So I'm going to have to meet that requirement of a 5 smartass to get it, but I'm definitely going to do that. It just makes too much sense, right? Let's see. What else is this guy going to get? He's going to get Taunt, which is going to reduce the chance of enemies to hit us. And then he's going to get the follow-up skills, which I believe is Enrage and Infuriate. And once you get up to that perk level, all enemies are going to have a -7 to hit you. So you take that -7, you add it with Turtle, so now you're at -17 even when you're not behind cover. And you get behind cover and all of a sudden the enemies are going to have, 40, 50% less chance to hit you. All of a sudden, odds are in your favor. Okay, so I'm not going to go through each one of these perks in this video. I might do a separate one just to talk about perks because there's so many. But I wanted to expose you to it and make sure that you take a really hard look at this before you create your team and commit to it, because quite frankly, how you choose the perks is really going to make up your team decisions. Like as an example for the skill monkey, who I have as an energy weapon user, there's, 4 or 5 perks that based on the skills that I'm giving that person, what's going to maximize the energy weapon stuff. So like, here we go. We've got Overcharge, we've got Overclocker, we've got Overload. These are all things that are going to make her more effective in combat, even though her role is basically to carry skills for us. She's still going to be effective with that energy weapon because of the way I'm going to stack things up. So, like I said, just make sure that you look very carefully at all the perks before you make your final decisions. Okay, so wrapping up, look at my cool Rangers there. We covered how to build a core team of 4. Again, you can have 3 NPCs in your group. So for me, NPC number 1 is going to carry the toaster repair skill for me, is going to carry medical skills for me like surgeon and field medic. Surgeon is what revives you in combat and fixes serious status effects like broken legs and things like that. Field medic is the thing that you apply to people to heal them up. So someone in your group has to sort of be a doctor, and I'm not going to have the doctor be one of my core 4. It's going to be an NPC that you can recruit relatively early on. The second NPC I'm going to pick up initially will be sort of like a melee kind of brute, and is going to be basically a pack mule for me. I will trade that NPC out for one that has bladed weapons and brute force, as well as outdoorsman skill to lower random events or allow me to run from random events if I want to. And then my third and last NPC is going to be another mid-range combatant that will have both energy weapons and assault rifles and can swap back and forth as needed depending on what we're fighting. So again, earlier in the video, I showed you that screenshot of the spreadsheet. You're welcome to look at that. If it's of benefit to you, great. I hope that it is. I will be coming out with a combat tutorial video. I already came out with the What's New in Wasteland 2. You can find that on my channel. And then I am thinking again about doing a perks one. And another video I am going to do for sure is what to do in the first couple of hours of Wasteland 2. So if you're not sure what you should do, should you jump right into the story? Should you go and explore? What have you? I'm going to cover that in a video as well. Okay, folks, well, I hope that you enjoyed this and you found it informative. If you did, please consider hitting that thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I am Mal, and I'll see you later.